You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on?
Hey, Oliver, what's happening? It's back. It's Wednesday night, and it's back to It's Life Live. We appreciate you all for being here tonight. How you doing, Oliver? How's the day been?
Man, the day has been full, but it's been good. And now I'm here. I'm doing now what I'm about to ask everybody who's watching or watching the replay to do, which is to share this with your network. So I'm going to do exactly what I'm asking you to do, which is to share this with my network as well.
Hey, cool. Because this is going to be a good show. We have a guest here tonight that if we haven't heard about the things that she's going to be sharing with us tonight, this is no better time than the present to find out and hear about the content in which she's going to be sharing about it. But before we get started and introduce our guest, let's welcome anybody and everybody who is joining us back again for either the first time you're joining us for the first time or you're coming back to spend the evening with us. Hey, if you're the first time, hey, hit the like button, to share. The subscribe button so that you can be a part of the community. We are a part of Clear Journey, which is a nonprofit that supports individuals that are searching for answers to life's challenges in all areas of life, specifically the 8 areas that we talk about, which covers everything in life. Clear Journey wants to be your one-stop shop for answers to solutions to problems and to all of life's challenges. So that's what it's all about. I'm an author, I'm a speaker, founder of Clear Journey, and a mindset coach. All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about. Oliver also is a co-host. Oliver, tell them about yourself.
Listen, I'm passionate about all things relationship building. So I believe that you can build and maintain the relationship of your dreams. I've seen it happen, and it is my passion to see as many people thrive in their relationships, both personal and professional. So as an author, speaker, and a coach, that's what I do. That is what I eat, live, sleep, breathe.
and we together are here on the platform of It's Life Live because, as you know, it's all about our mindset. That's basically what connects my book, which was the book that's the foundation for Clear Journey. It's the attitudes that are necessary to navigate life successfully, that puts us in the right mindset so that we can accomplish all of the 8 areas of life, so that while we're navigating it, we can accomplish all of our aspirations, our dreams and desires, and live a fulfilled life. And that's what this is all about. And tonight is no different. We're going to be talking about and be underneath of the area of health and wellness. And in health and wellness, there are particular attitudes that will stand out in that area, and that will be discipline, sacrifice, responsibility, and caring. All of these 4 attitudes will be the things that we will use to be able to put us in the right mindset so that we can hear what the presenter, the guest, is going to be saying, because none of the things that she's going to be talking about is going to be easy. Nothing that we're talking about is going to be easy, but it's beneficial. And so what we're going to do is be able to have ourselves in the right mindset, the discipline, willing to sacrifice, be responsible, and understanding that no one's going to care for you and your health more than yourself. You've got to be able to own some of the things that she's going to be sharing with you, and so that you can be able to get the benefits out of it and live this more healthy and a healthier lifestyle. So, Oliver, is there anything else we need to talk about? Nothing's coming up right off the top of my head. If you want to know more about Clear Journey, go over to clearjourney.org. You can find out about all of the 8 areas that we support. And we're here every Wednesday night, Oliver and myself, and we're talking about It's Life. Um, there is a free book that I want you to know about, by the way, that we offer, and it comes from our financial area, and it's a free gift. Just go over to Clear Journey and get it. It's an ebook. It's called Budgeting Made Easy: The Guide to Taking Charge of Your Money. Okay, so that's a free gift for us. Go over there, get it. It's for you to help you. I mean, the finances is a critical part of this journey, and being able to manage them, being able to control and to navigate your finances, it helps you even in some of the things that we're going to be talking about tonight, because it's going to take priorities to do the things that our guests are going to talk about tonight. And there, you have to prioritize your expenses, your money, to be able to do some of the things that need to be done for your health. So without any further ado, let me introduce our guest. Our guest is Antonette Coates. She is a health, a plant whole food, plant-based nutritionist, health coach. She is a she's a study found a study in anatomy and physiology, but now she's about helping empowering individuals and communities embrace healthy lifestyles, and that's what she's here to do tonight, to share with us. So, without further ado, Antoinette, how are you tonight?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Excellent, excellent. Welcome to It's Life Live. I'm actually looking forward to this because I go through these highs and lows where I'm like, yeah, let me get my health in order. And then I kind of fall off. And then I'm like, yeah, let me get my health in order. And then I fall off. Slowly getting back to the yeah. So this is perfect timing.
Okay.
Hey, like I was saying, you and I have had a really nice conversation prior to that, but this is I think going to be the one that really it takes me to the, because I'm with Oliver. You know, when it comes to staying on that journey, um,
Right.
this is not an easy one, but it's an important one and it's a necessary one. So before we get started, tell the people about yourself and let us know about yourself.
Okay, sure. Well, like you already mentioned, my name is Antonette Coates. I currently live in the Maryland area. I've been here for about 3 years now, pushing four. Mom to two kids, a boy and a girl. Traveled a little bit, which is kind of where the developing the passion for health and wellness came about. Lived in Japan for about 4 years and really just developed a love for everything that was nutrition and health and wellness while over there. Kind of having a chance to experience that culture was so much different from growing up here in the States. So it was really cool to be able to have that experience and be able to really build off of it and carry through with it to be able to pour into other people now with what I know.
Great. Well, I tell you then, so therein lies your experiences and exposure. What was it then that got you wanting to get into this particular part of the journey as it relates to now sharing it? Because was there any type of immediate or personal thing that drew you into it other than the location you were in?
Yeah, it was very, very personal. I ended up, I was homesick. That was my first time being outside of the country, away from family, away from comforts. So instead of really taking time to embrace that experience, I went to comfort, which was food. So I'm just, I'm from the South. I'm whipping it up, cooking all the comfort foods, doesn't matter what time of day, time of night. And it resulted in me gaining about 30 pounds and started having some issues with joint pain, back pain, hypertension. And of course, you go to the doctor, the first thing they tell you is, well, take this medication. And that was one of my biggest fears, especially coming from my African American background. A lot of our families deal with high blood pressure and hypertension. There's always that saying, well, once you get on that medicine, you won't be able to get off. And that wasn't an option for me because at the time I was 24. I'm too young to be on hypertension medication permanently for the rest of my life. So what else can I do to fix this? And the answer was, okay, well, lose some weight. Okay, well, how do I lose weight? Eat better, work out. Okay, so how do I work out? How do I eat better? They don't really have an answer for you past that point. So it's kind of up to you to be able to, do the research, dig, see what you can find. And so I ended up coming across a Netflix documentary called What the Health. And it really put into perspective for me the issue with why I was gaining so much weight and, honestly, why I was stressed out, why I was emotional. A lot of other aspects were building off of the way that I was eating because we are what we eat. And so it took a lot of, background research on my part, reading, talking to other people, and really taking the time to step outside of my comfort zone, get out of the gate and see what the other cultures around me were doing because they don't have a big issue with obesity over in Japan. So what are you guys eating? What are you doing? They're focusing more on whole foods. So me taking the time to kind of learn more about the whole foods that I like, incorporating them into my diet, I dropped 10 pounds within the first month very smoothly. Didn't necessarily have to work out, but just changing my eating style was able to make a really big difference. And then going back to the doctor to get my blood pressure checked, not a problem at all. Oh yeah, this is great. You're perfect. Why are you here? Type, conversation. So I was like, okay, this is the key. We need to keep doing this. And so I continued doing it for a few months and was able to drop all of the weight that I had gained. I felt better. Took the pressure off of my joints, knees, back was better. Like the quality of life just from eating more whole foods improved so smoothly, so well. And just the course of about 3 to 4 months, versus just kind of dealing with the medication and taking it and, not really necessarily fixing the root of the problem, but just putting a Band-Aid on it. And so after being able to do that for myself, I wanted to learn more about it so that I could be able to really tell other people what I've done. Because I don't want to ever be in this stage where it's like, oh yeah, well, I ate better and I worked out. That's how I lost the weight. That's how I don't deal with hypertension. No, I want to be able to give you details and give you facts behind why it works so well for me and why it's going to work well for you too. So I went back to school, ended up getting a bachelor's degree in nutrition, got a certification in health coaching, and just kind of carried that over to here where I am now. And really being in this back in the States has given me a chance to kind of pour more into that craft and into that passion. So now I can be here with y'all and share that.
Hey, I think that's awesome and great.
Yep.
I have one question in light of what you just said. How difficult was it? Or let me just put it from my perspective. Is it as easy for me to do it at my age as it was for you to do at your age? That's the point blank here. Because
at any age, to be completely honest with you, when we're stuck in our routine and we're set in our ways, you've been eating a certain way your entire life, trying to change any aspect of that is definitely going to be difficult, no matter the age. It is a little bit easier to do, I will say, when you are a little bit younger versus when you are a little older, but it's still that level of difficulty still remains.
So we talk about discipline. It's required in this process is discipline.
Yep.
Definitely.
Across the board.
You do.
Yeah.
Across the board.
You got anything, Oliver?
Yeah. Question. I've been watching some videos and been having some conversations around, the importance of whole foods. And just for those that are watching the replay, when you speak about whole foods, clarify what you are referring to. What are whole foods?
Yeah, sure. So anything that's vegetable, fruit, your beans, whole grains, basically anything that's going to be grown is what you're looking at for your whole food plant-based options. And you can go in the grocery store now, especially more recently, within this past couple of years, we can see a lot of food items that are labeled as plant-based. And sometimes that's just more so for promotion, not necessarily for the health benefits. So it's really important to kind of pay attention to the nutrition facts and, look at the label, see exactly what's going into the food. Because sometimes they're not really doing it for your health. They're doing it to make a dollar. So definitely making sure that you pay attention to ingredients and really focus on, the root of it, the root of the food.
Yeah. That's when you said the label, I've been just now beginning to read and understand. Oh, there's so much when you said that people didn't try to make a dollar versus getting there and reading the label, because the label speaks volumes if you understand what it is you are reading.
Yes.
because the label, everything, I tell you, just is very simple. You get a bag of potato chips, right? One bag of potato chips, and you read all of the stuff down, and then you stop and you look up at the top and says that's for 3 servings.
Yeah. Yeah.
You already ate the whole bag. And, and so you don't understand that what they're selling as a single serving is in actuality 3 servings, 3.5 servings for what the descriptions are in the or for what the ingredients are. And so people don't realize that then, just because it looks like a serving, don't mean that it's just 1 serving.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of goes into play with you talking about, being financially, responsible when it comes to eating better too. Because a lot of times we think if we're buying the family size or the family pack, we're saving a little bit of money. When in reality, 9 times out of 10, we have that bigger portion at home. We're going to eat too big of a portion. So sometimes buying a smaller portion of that item, it's gonna help in the long run. You're not gonna eat as much in one setting, and then it kind of makes you think twice about, do I actually want to take the time and burn the gas, to go back to the store to try to buy this food? Not necessarily. Maybe I'll wait until the next time I have to do my grocery run, and I can find a lighter, maybe healthier snack for now.
Yeah,
Well,
good
again,
stuff.
it goes really back into one of the things that we were talking about as it relates to priorities, because you've got to begin to have the right priorities. If your health is important and it becomes a priority, then that's what you'll do.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ashlyn in the comments. Amazing how much progress you experienced so quickly just from nutrition. And let me tell you what's crazy. I've heard this all the time, and I've been hearing it a lot recently because, like I said in the beginning, I'm on the upswing now to the let's go. And so I've been really doing a lot of reading, and I've been watching a lot of things. And we've heard this before, that a significant portion of your health and fitness is actually aligned to your diet. And often we will say, yeah, we're going to go to the gym. We're going to do 2 a days. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do the same, but we're not eating right. And you're defeating the purpose. You could work out 95,000 hours, but if you just going to blow it all, blow the calories that you burned by going out to eat after you work out, that you playing yourself basically. And so that whole nutrition thing is such a huge element. I'm watching this personal trainer, and he will critique exercises that are good for building certain parts of your body, for getting your heart right. I would say, I don't think I would be exaggerating if I said in 95 or more % of these videos, no matter what exercise he's talking about, he was like, don't none of this matter if you're not eating whole foods or if you're not getting your nutrition right. You could forget about this entire video if you're not doing a calorie deficit, or if you're not, so it all points back to what we're putting in our bodies. It's so crucial.
For sure. And any personal trainer will tell you cannot outwork a bad diet. Any nutritionist, dietitian will tell you part of losing weight, getting healthier, is going to be 80% dependent on nutrition, only 20% on exercise. So you really have to focus in and be able to give yourself time to build that discipline, because it doesn't come right away. You have to keep working at it. Normally, for most people, it could take almost 4 weeks to be able to build that discipline to the point where you can just kind of keep going with it without, having the cravings come knocking at the door or other things, disrupting the pattern that you've already set up for yourself.
You just answered a question I was actually about to ask, is for people who are like, okay, how long is this going to take for me? Now, obviously we know that's relative to some degree, but you did give sort of a time frame up to 4 weeks to really kind of, it's like building any other habit, right? They talk about the 21 days or the 30 days or whatever it is to reverse these kinds of things. And you said something verbatim that this guy said that I was watching the other day. You cannot outwork a bad diet.
Yeah, that's it.
And we all have them. Bad diets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
have bad diets. Hey, let me ask a question about the whole food plant-based diet. Are there any other types of dietary approaches other than that is that you are familiar with, or is this the only one that you basically do? Is it? I mean, are you totally off of meat? Are you a vegan? Or you're a vegetarian? What are you? What? How
No,
do
I'm
you?
not vegetarian or vegan. I do enjoy more than anything the plant-based diet because it does allow for flexibility. So with vegetarian, vegan, especially the vegan diets, they are very limited to the other food items that you can have, especially when it comes to animal products. Vegan is more of an ethical decision. So you're not eating animal products, wearing animal products, using any type of products that have anything to do with an animal. Versus plant-based is more focused solely on whole food plant-based foods, fruits, veggies, things of that nature. But it still allows for, animal products some of the time. So sometimes I will have, I will have fish or seafood, but it's not often. And it's mainly a personal choice. I know I don't feel the best if I'm eating meat every single day. And sometimes we do have to avoid those triggers. So, if there's a food that you enjoy, but it's not going to be good for your health, kind of avoid that. Do what you can to find a substitution, find something else that's going to be a little healthier for you because it tastes good in that moment. But then look at all the work you're going to have to put in later to try to correct that problem if you're feeding into it. So for me, I know that hypertension, I don't have issue with it now, but I'm not going to eat a lot of salty foods. I'm always being mindful of the amount of sodium that's in my foods. Don't cook with a lot of salt, like try my hardest to use herbs, spices, other things to give foods flavor, even lemon and lime. Sometimes those are a really nice little zesty flavor to add to your foods too. So really just kind of eating for, I eat for my health, right? Because it's my body. So I know what my body needs most. So that's what I would recommend to anybody, really. Eat for what your body needs. It doesn't necessarily have to be plant-based every day,
How this is quick because the question I was like creating that personal nutrition plan. What's the steps? How do you go about doing that? And you just mentioned the fact that make the plan for your body. How do you determine it? How do you find out what that is and exactly what does that mean?
Well, my first thing would be really just assessing where your health is. Like, what is your current health? Is there anything right now that you feel needs to be improved? Is there anything that you've been working on? Is there a history of certain health issues in your family that you want to avoid? And then seeing, okay, what kind of foods is going to help me cause this problem to be part of my story? And then what foods can I eat to avoid that being a part of my story? And then I can have an amazing quality of life. And then after kind of assessing what your personal story is, what your health goals, what you want, maybe your next 5-10 years to look like, then proceeding forward and being adamant about making sure that you're adding those foods into your diet to make sure that you have the quality of life that you're looking for. So being on focusing in on your nutrition is very personal. So it's always good to talk to a health coach, a nutritionist, a dietitian, somebody that does have more background in that area. If you need that assistance, if you need, just that support to be able to be there and help you through it.
So what you're saying is that it's essential and it's very important in this particular aspect of this journey as to have a goal. You need a goal so that you can have something towards to shoot at, so that it will motivate you to be able to keep going or to actually put the plan in place. You need to have a goal. I mean, and because you just said something that I hadn't thought about, and it was like, what do you want your quality of life to be?
Yeah.
Most people don't hear that. They don't even hear that phrase, up until a certain point in time in life. And it's probably more so in the pine when it's starting to decline. But you're saying, hey, how do I want my future to look?
Yeah, definitely. And I have so many clients that I talk to, and a lot of them, they have parents that are older and sick, and they say, well, my parent is dealing with this issue right now. I don't want to deal with that. So I need to do this to make sure that I don't get to that point. So essentially that is their goal. They want to be able to have a better quality of life than what they see their parents going through. So it is a good idea to, even if you don't want to call it a goal, because some people, don't like to say, well, I'm going to set a goal just in case they, don't make it in the allotted time that they give themselves. But just really having an idea of, okay, I know that this is what I want out of life. So this is how I need to eat to be able to have it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I by no means am I talking about putting a time frame on it, but it's just an idea of reaching to being able to accomplish something or prevent something from happening, because that quality of life is a goal. I mean, it's something that I want to attain. And unfortunately, so many of us, we just accept what we get, you know, and not knowing that what we're actually getting is what we've actually did for it. We've actually put the work in to get it, and whether it's bad or good, you know, we've put ourselves in this space so that we don't have the quality of life. But if we look in and say, hey, I want that, I want to be able to bend over and not feel my knees cracking, and be able to walk and play and jump, and even though I'm 60 years old, you know, I want to be able to still do those things, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm talking about me, because I was basically, I didn't know that things was going to change, to be honest with you. Let's be clear. I didn't know things was going to change. And then all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you be like, hey, this didn't feel like this before. And it's those signs that are very subtle that you be like, whoa, what? And then you go to the doctor and they say, well, hey, you know, you're getting old. And then here goes the other catchphrase they give you: for your age. You know, it's for your age. I'm like, hold on, bro. I was doing all right yesterday. I mean, I was walking, didn't have this pain yesterday. Now all of a sudden it's because of my oh, it's for your age thing. Oh, that ain't that's the motivation to understand that it's not that. It doesn't have to be like that.
Doesn't have to be like that. And that's, I mean, that's really good. That's good because many of us eat, many of us don't eat for our health. Many of us eat for various other reasons. It's celebratory, it's stress management, it's, you know, the list goes on, and it's not about us and our quality of life and our health and our longevity and our physical and mental well-being, right? I got a question I want to ask for the people in the back who don't want to ask this question, right? How should you have, because there's this debate sometimes about cheat days and certain little area of the pantry that's just going to be for Saturdays, right? Should that exist? And if no, then it's no. If yes, how do how does one incorporate that in a way that allows them to still maintain a level of discipline and be healthy?
That's a good question. So it's not necessarily yes or no, but it's accountability. So how accountable are you for being able to have those foods in the house and not touch them until Saturday? So if you are giving yourself that day, saying Saturday is the only day where I have these certain foods, I'm going to keep them in this certain area. How much accountability do you have, and how much discipline do you have to be able to leave them alone? If you do not have the discipline and the accountability yet, no. If you have the accountability, if you have the discipline, yes. But you have to really be honest with yourself to be able to answer that question. And again, that's why a lot of the health and wellness journey, especially with the nutrition, is it's so personal. You know, you really have to check in with yourself, do the work on yourself, and be able to understand, like, yes, I can be able to keep these in the house. No, I can't keep these in the house. Now, I'm very adamant about foods in moderation are, okay, if you're eating healthy 90% of the time and you decide you want to go out to brunch one day, that one day of eating something that's not normally what you would eat is not going to be detrimental to, your overall health and wellness. But if you know for a fact that there are certain foods that are going to be detrimental to your health, detrimental to your quality of life, and you're actively keeping them in the house and you can't keep your hands off of them, then you're feeding into your problem. Mm-hmm. And so that goes into another area of your health and wellness where you have to figure out, let me get to the root of this. Why can't I stop touching this food? And a lot of what I do as a health coach, I really remind people, be mindful before you have that snack, before you eat that food. What do you feel right now? What are you thinking? What's going through your mind? Did something just trigger you to feel like you need to eat this? So with that, definitely, as an individual, check in with your discipline, check in with your accountability before you can answer that question for yourself.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I have a follow-up question to that. Now, in light of that, and you just made a lot of people feel a little bit better about themselves. Like, okay, I can get that and have this Saturday. Are there across the board, like if we take away triggers, if we take away health, if we just across the board, no matter what, are there certain things that we should never have in our pantry?
It just really depends. Certain things I would not recommend just at all are a lot of the more ultra processed foods. I know we love them and they taste great, but if there are foods, and especially like going back to reading that nutrition label, if there are at least 4 to 5 ingredients on there that you do not recognize, you probably shouldn't be eating it. And there's a lot of foods that we have now with the ingredients that are banned in other countries because they are just not good for our health. So certain things like that, especially like the red dyes and things that come in, children's foods and cereals, things of that nature, just don't recommend it. And there are healthier options for those things, and the ingredients are a little more organic. They, you can tell what the food is. You may already know where it's coming from. And sometimes, again, with the financial side, those are going to be options that are a little more pricier, but in the same breath, you're feeding into your health. So eating the food that's a little bit more costly is going to be able to not allow you to have to pay for prescription or co-pays later on down the road.
You gonna pay now or you gonna pay later?
Pay now or pay later. That's right.
Yeah. I love what you said. Sorry, Juan. I gotta highlight this for those who are watching the replay. If you look at the label and there are 4 things on there that you can't pronounce or recognize, you should probably leave it alone. That's significant. Like, I'm taking that. That's part of my takeaway today, because I'm gonna really start looking for that. If there's some stuff, because we all know if you turn that thing around, there's some tryptophan, panaslatus. Don't nobody know what that is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you giving that tidbit.
And because I was going to follow up on that, because I'm like, what are you talking about? If you don't understand or don't know what they are, how many of us know what any of them are? And to be honest with you, let's be real. I mean, if here's the thing, there's no label on an orange, an apple, a fruit, vegetables. Ain't no labels on those. Anything else coming in this, it got a label on it. It probably got something in it that you don't need.
Yep. It's not going to be helpful to your health.
It's to say if you can't read. If it got a label on it, basically what you're saying, you got to question it, because it's there's got to be something in there. When you said 4, if it's 3, it's okay. If it's 2, it's okay.
You know what those 2 or 3 are, and you're willing to take the risk.
See, no. See, but that's my point. When you talk about what it's going to take, is some sacrifice. Again, having to realize that, look, if it got a label on it, let's think about it. Is it really going to be? They tell you that it ain't good for you, is what they basically telling you. Sometimes. If it got a label on it.
And sometimes if it has more than 4 to 5 ingredients. Now you can find some foods now, they have maybe 4 or 5 ingredients in total in the food, and you know exactly what each ingredient is. So things like that, sure, go for it. But really, when I say, pay attention to the labels, if there's like 4 or 5 things on there that you don't recognize, it's drawing question marks for you, then you should question whether you're going to put this into your body or not. Because if you don't know what it is by reading it, your body will not know what it is when it's trying to digest it. So just have to, keep stuff like that at the back of your mind.
But let me ask you a question. Now you didn't open the door here. What is something that is okay that's on the back of the label?
On the back of the label?
Yeah, what's on the label? Well, give me something on the label that's okay.
Okay, let's see. Lecithin. And I know what lecithin is because I've been, reading labels for a while. But lecithin is nothing more than making sure that foods don't separate. So if you have like a salad dressing, for example, and you see lecithin, on the nutrition label. And that's just something that's going to be able to keep the creamy part of the dressing to not separate from the oil or vinegar part of the dressing. And again, it goes back to that education and, really just being mindful, understanding what's on the label so that you can be able to make that decision on whether or not that you think this is something that you should put into your body.
Right, because I'm on a prime example of what you just said. If I saw lecithin on it, I wouldn't know what that meant. So whether it being good or bad, it's already on the bad label because I don't know what it is, in spite of the fact that you know that it's good.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That brings up a good question though, and obviously we want individuals to work like with folks like Antonette. We want them to go to their health professionals and coaches and dietitians.
Sure.
Outside of that though, is there somewhere where should we, if we wanted to, like, is Google our friend with this? Like, are there places that we can go to view some things and look at some things that would supplement the kinds of things that we would get from someone like you?
Yes, there are a plethora of books, websites. One of the websites that I really like is eatingwell.com. They have a lot of really good information on there. I'm reading a book right now by Dr. Neil Bernard, Whole Food Plant-Based Diet, and he has a lot of really good information about reading food labels, different foods that you can eat for different chronic illnesses and things of that nature. Most of the documentaries on Netflix have been really informational, and sometimes it's good to kind of have that visual too, to kind of reiterate things to us. So if you are a visual learner, I definitely recommend watching some of the documentaries that you find Netflix, sometimes Hulu. I think Tubi has a couple also, and sometimes Google is okay. As long as you are looking at some of the more reputable sources. I work for WebMD, so WebMD has a lot of really good information within their website alone. So just going to webmd.com, hitting the little search tab, and really just typing in and getting all the information that you can.
Excellent.
Okay, I'm gonna throw you back a little bit. We're gonna go back in it. Is sugar ever good for you?
Depends on the source.
Okay. Give me the source of the sugar, because normally the sugar that we get is in the processed.
Yeah, so anytime you have fruit naturally is sugar. And anytime you have carbs, our body takes it in and breaks it down and uses it as sugar for energy. So any foods that's like fruits, some of your whole grains, those are going to get broken down and turned into sugar. Sugar that you kind of need to avoid majority of the time is the sugar that's already white. So white regular sugar, that we put into drinks and bake with, white rice, our body's going to turn that into sugar too. Certain things like that.
Okay. I mean, again, these are typical things that we want to know in our culture, because we don't realize that when we get the diabetes, it came from not only the cakes that we ate, but it was also the bread and the rice and the sweet potato, not the sweet potatoes as much as the white potatoes, the bread and everything that all turns into that sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you a question. If there was some tips that you would suggest to give to the audience, what would those tips be as relates to the plant-based or understanding it a little bit better, the plant-based diet?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the tips that you might want to give the listeners?
Yeah. So first and foremost, definitely do your research. Become an expert in it for yourself. Because again, that goes back into knowing yourself, knowing what your body needs. So doing that research, having that information, you can apply it to your life so that you can get the most benefits out of it. Anytime you go into the grocery store, 9 times out of 10, the outside, the perimeter of where you're shopping is going to be where you find most of your plant-based whole food items. So fresh produce type foods, that's where you're going to find those. And really, if you have the opportunity, some of the grocery stores, especially in our area, they do have nutritionists that work within the grocery store. So maybe going to the front, talking to somebody to see if there's a nutritionist, on site that day, asking them, can they come out? Do they have any information about, where you can find the plant-based foods in the grocery store? It's really nothing better than kind of sometimes having that hands-on opportunity to be able to have somebody show you, exactly what it is that you're looking for. But for me, the biggest thing I always say is research so you can have that information.
Okay.
Wow, grocery stores have nutritionists.
Well, the one here in Maryland does. Giant has nutritionists, some of them.
Well, you learn something every day, don't you?
Yeah,
Hmm.
for
I'm
sure.
actually gonna go. I'm actually gonna go look and see if I can talk to one. That's awesome. There's some things that I'm just thinking about my parents too, because they're actually about to meet with a nutritionist as well for some things. They're older, some
Mhm.
things that they need to do as well. That's awesome. I'm curious, and obviously we don't want you to give away too much proprietary information because we want people to work with you.
Mhm.
But as a as a coach in this space, and if I come to you as a client, just kind of give us a really small window into what are some of the first steps that you take with the client. I just want to kind of give folk that are watching or watching the replay just a window into what that even looks like to work with somebody like you.
Yeah, sure. Well, first and foremost, I feel like it's really important to have a relationship because you're trusting me with some very intimate information, very intimate about, things that you're going to be working on, things you may be struggling with, things you may be dealing with that no one else knows about. So just kind of meeting you where you are, being able to be a good support system, let you know that I'm going to be here with you. You can reach out, the phone is open. And then also just kind of deep diving and seeing, what's the root of the problem. Because if I tell you to just go eat a plant-based diet, you can do it for sure. But then there's that thing where you may fall off and then you may not be able to get back on for a couple weeks or a couple months because there's something else going on underneath. So just as a health coach in general, I like to go underneath that. So let's figure out what we can do about anything else because overall health and wellness is mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. And sometimes those things, if they're not aligned, it can manifest through food. So making sure that we cover the root of what's going on with you first. And even if it's not within me, if we have to get you help, in another arena, making sure that you have access to being able to get that help so that we can continue to build off of that. And then eventually getting to the point where we can eat better and then we can sustain it. Because that's the key here, really making a lifestyle out of it.
Mhm.
It sounds like
Excellent.
it sounds like that mindset that's required
Yeah.
to be able to navigate this into this healthy lifestyle
Mhm.
that we are talking about here at Clear Journey.
Yeah, it's
Um,
it's applicable without a doubt. It is applicable. Shout out to Jaron in the comments. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Please forgive me if I didn't. Said never knew that. Is this mainly for Trader Joe's and Whole Foods type of stores for the nutritionists? Now I know you mentioned Giant, so are there? Can we look for this in other places?
You can definitely ask them about it. It never hurts to ask. As far as I know, Giant is the only commercial company that I know of that actively has nutritionists and are open about having nutritionists on their team. But
Okay.
it never hurts to ask, though.
Unfortunately, those stores that he put up there are stores that are not in our community. And
Yeah.
that's those two stores that he put in there. I would suggest that they probably do have nutritionists on staff. Those Whole Food stores and Trader Joe's. Another one would be called what is it? Um, Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. Those are probably two that will probably have because they're basically dealing with a lot of nutritional food. I mean, they're basically talking about healthy food. Even their foods that they have at Wegmans, yeah, that's another one. Those will be the stores that have, even their processed foods are probably healthier healthier for you. Um, but yeah, let me ask a question. What are some of the myths that are surrounding whole food dieting?
That you can only have carrots and lettuce. That's the biggest one I've always heard, that you can only have carrots, lettuce. Everything has to be raw, not tasty, probably chopped up. But you can be very creative when it comes to whole food eating. And you're not limited to just fruits and vegetables. There's fruits, vegetables, whole grains. There's plant-based. People are big on social media. It's a lot of plant-based YouTubers. They do the what I eat in a day videos as a plant-based person, and they're making soup, sandwiches, curries. Really amazing recipes that are covering all the bases for making sure you're getting in those nutrients and the vitamins that your body needs. So it's a lot of creativity that comes with plant-based eating, but I think a lot of people think that it's kind of boring.
Mm-hmm. Does what's her name? What's the lady's name who just blew up over the last couple years? About vegan and being health. What's her name?
Tabitha
Brown.
Ooh, I love her.
Yeah, she's basically making it hip, I guess, to be able to eat things that are not just carrots and celery.
Yeah. She has her own seasoning line too, so that's really cool. Also, she does the videos still where she shows like how she makes her vegan meals, and being able to have that seasoning too is just another layer onto it. It's exciting and it's a journey. It's fun. It doesn't have to be perfect. You do it the way that you like.
Listen, let's not knock carrots and celery though. Like, shout out to carrots and celery. I like carrots and celery.
So do I.
So I'm good. Like, we can do that all day long.
Okay, but you don't like it more than a steak.
I like carrots with my steak. How about that?
I hear you. But I mean, but everything I like what you said, Antoinette, about balance though. And that I think that's critical in being able to take this journey, is to know that, especially when you get to be, my age, in the sense that to know that I can, be mindful, but understand that I've got to make some adjustments in my day-to-day, and not just being consistently just terrifying the habits of eating terrible. I have to do more healthy eating than bad eating by far. But as much as I get, more and more getting attuned and familiar with this healthy, because again, the other thing that you have spoken about, I don't know if we talked about it, is that the time it takes to eat healthy. Yeah. How do you see the time that it takes to eat healthy?
Well, for me personally, I have to make the time because it does take more time if you're eating a whole food plant-based diet to kind of prepare everything from scratch, especially if you're working a job, or I work full-time, I'm a mommy. So, I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to, getting in the kitchen 3 times a day, chopping and cooking each meal. So you have to kind of prioritize, again, where do I want to spend my time? Do I want to spend my time in the kitchen on a Saturday evening, making sure that like I have my meals ready for the week, or do I want to have to pay for it later because I decided I was gonna, go through the drive-through 5 times for dinner each week? It really, you have to figure out, when am I gonna have time to do it? And even if you have to start with just preparing that one meal, or cutting up and chopping things throughout the week so that you don't have to get in the kitchen and do it all from scratch when it's time to actually eat a meal. And a lot of it too, a lot of times we can kind of get off track if we're not prepared when it's time for us to eat. It's a lot easier to, hit up DoorDash for that meal that's going to be like 1,200 calories at one time versus taking the time to prepare for the next couple days.
Is there no shortcuts to that?
There are, honestly, and it's cost effective too. Frozen fruits and veggies are always a really easy way to make sure that you have something on hand. You can cook it pretty quickly. Frozen fruits go really good in smoothies. So sometimes a smoothie is really easy to do. You're getting the nutritional value from it. And it's still, not taking up a lot of time. But it really just depends individually on that person. How much time do you have to be able to prepare the meal right then? Or do you need to prep the meal and have a couple things ready and on hand before it's time?
Yeah. Listen, I know we don't want to keep you over time, right? So, but I got 2 questions. Mm-hmm. One, shout out to Jerry in the comments. He said, and it's more expensive to eat healthy, but worth it in the long run. Now, I just watched something where some individuals were challenging the fact that it is really not as expensive as we think. What is your take on that? Is it more expensive? What's your thoughts on that?
It's more expensive if you're buying the items because they say plant-based and because they say vegan. A lot of times, items like that, they are again kind of set up to make the money and not necessarily to kind of help your overall health and well-being. If you're shopping for the fresh produce, fresh veggies, things of that nature, it may not cost you as much versus maybe going to the frozen section and finding a nice little plant-based microwavable bowl that's like $7 for that one bowl. That $7 could take you to buy a couple different types of veggies and maybe a pack of grapes if they're on sale. And then you go forward with a couple snacks and maybe like a meal or two from that. So you really have to kind of just weigh the pros and cons of, how well you're going to eat when it comes to plant-based. Like you can't eat based off of the plate. You got to eat based off of the philosophy behind it.
That's good, because that walks literally right into my next question, because you mentioned earlier that a lot of the stuff that we see that says plant-based and says vegan on the label is really a ploy. And I was watching some things about high protein and all of that kind of stuff that's really a marketing tool at this point, right? And so in lieu of that, are there some things that we have adopted as, oh, I'm eating healthy now, that we really should probably be staying away from?
Butters. A lot of the butters, especially country crop, it's still full saturated fat. It's not going to be or trans fat. It's not going to be the best for you. But a lot of times if we say, oh, well, it doesn't have animal product in it, so it's, it's plant-based, it's healthier. Not necessarily. You still need to use certain things like that in moderation. And just because, a lot of times we still have a lot of processed foods out there that don't have any animal products, like we talked about potato chips earlier. They don't have any animal products in them. They only have a couple of ingredients on the label. We can, pretty much tell exactly what each ingredient is, but they're still not going to be the best option for you at the end of the day because they're fried. It's a lot of fat in them. They're not going to be able to help you have that quality of life overall that you're looking for.
That's good. I'm chuckling because I'm saying this to myself, but I'm gonna say it out loud to whoever's listening. That means don't be patting yourself on the back when you buy the baked version of the barbecue chips. I'll be like, yeah, we good. We got the baked version. Yeah,
Hey,
that's excellent.
Let me ask you a question based on this industry as far as the future of the whole food plant-based industry. Do you think it's going to get bigger, the interest in things like that, or it's going to get more people involved in it over the long term or going into the future?
Oh, for sure. Because we know more about it now. And, social media does a really good job of showing people how beneficial the plant-based diet is. And then, a lot of companies seeing that more people are getting involved with, plant-based, veganism, Mediterranean diet, whatever it is. They're able to kind of put a label on it and be like, we can sell this now because this is what the people want. So it's really on us as individuals to be able to make sure we're just being mindful of that and making sure that not necessarily that we're being duped by these companies, but that we're just making sure we're still eating for the benefit of our overall health. And again, it's, sometimes nothing wrong with it every now and then, but you can't build your entire diet based off of a bunch of boxes that say they're plant-based.
Got you.
Let's slide Jared's question in. Jaren's question in. We can. I don't know how much time we got. We can slide this in as the last one.
We're good.
Thoughts on Antonette? Thoughts on grocery store shopping versus farmers markets and Amish markets for produce?
For sure. Never been to an Amish market, but for farmers markets, it's very cost effective. So I do like that part about it. Less pesticides and, wax and other things that are going to be on the food to try to keep it, looking cuter for a longer amount of time. So if you have access to a farmer's market, definitely go for it. Absolutely. And most of the time, if you are going to grocery shop, I recommend doing it first thing in the morning because that's where the best produce is going to be put out first thing throughout the day. Later on in the afternoon, everybody's buying things. You got people that like to touch everything. You're gonna go to a grocery store definitely first thing in the morning when it opens.
The Amish markets that he was referring to is like a Danish, the people up in Pennsylvania, they're Amish, and they basically grow everything and then they bring it down from their farms, and they have like a farmer's. It's where they brought the food from the farm down to the city, so to speak, And that's what the Amish people, the Amish markets are.
Very nice. That kind of it reminds me of like farm to table. So in the bigger industry, sometimes it could take a little bit longer for when the food is picked to when we actually buy it in the grocery store. So it doesn't sound like it would be that bad of a thing, buying from the Amish because they're growing it right there and then they're bringing it directly to you. So it's probably not a lot of time from when that food was picked to when you're actually buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a good idea. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
stuff. Good stuff.
I hear you, and now I have to do what you're saying. So I am going to now be more conscious and aware. My sister-in-law is vegan, and so she has been, and I'm so much encouraged by her because she's making the changes that all of us need to make, and she's doing the work, and I watch her do the work. So it is work. And so I want to thank you for coming and sharing us with us the information that you've given us. And how can people reach you and get in touch with you to work with you?
Of course. So I'm on LinkedIn right now as Antonette Coates. Also, my email is coates.antoinette@gmail.com. Working on a website, so I'll have that posted somewhere when it's up and running, and then you guys will be able to reach me there too.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. And if anyone needs to get in touch with her, if you can't get in touch with her you can get in touch with us and we'll get you in touch with her.
Absolutely.
So we've got a connection, and that's what we want, is to be able to know that the people that are here have a way to be able to get in touch with you, if no other way than through us. So we want to thank you for sharing with us tonight, and we look forward hoping that people come and reach out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. And thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Great
Alrighty.
information. Great information.
So let's go, and we're gonna wrap it up, and we'll be with you in a minute. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Alrighty. So guys, everybody, Antoinette just gave us some insight on living a better, healthier life. And that's what we talk about here at Clear Journey. And now we have insight, we have knowledge. And that's the biggest thing. And here's the thing. She shared with us, if you need to go back and listen to this again, she shared a whole lot of things. She talked about the MD, what was it? MD medicine, MD, WebMD. As going out and getting some information there. Look, wherever we can find knowledge and it benefits us, that's what we're looking for. And this is about living a more healthier, more productive life. And she showed some key words. I mean, man, we don't think about what it is that we are experiencing until we can't experience anymore. And that's because life has, we've basically learned we get what we pay for. That's, to be honest with you. When we start to break down soup prematurely, it's a sign of we've been buying some bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we are. But now we've learned that we need to buy some better stuff. And I think that's even something that I'm learning right now in my life. So it's really, really important that we take heed to what we heard today.
Absolutely. I agree. Good stuff. Good stuff. And we need to be we need to be more cognizant of our health. We need to be more intentional around the choices that we make regarding our health. And it's right in line with what we're talking about. There's a level of discipline that's involved. There's a level of responsibility that's involved. There's a level of sacrifice that's involved, right?
Yep.
And you're gonna have to sacrifice eating the way you were eating for the last 10 years so that you can potentially live 20 years longer
down the road. Yeah.
So,
and you ultimately are the one that has to be accountable. You got to do it for yourself. Nobody's going to do it for you. If nothing else, we've learned about the labels and the things that they're writing on the label. Just because it says health based don't mean it's a whole food based. And the thing about it is we've got to do the work and have the due diligence to make it right, to do the right thing by ourselves.
Yeah.
So Oliver, let people know how they can reach you and get in touch with you.
Well, you can reach me if you're a social media person. That's the social media handle everywhere at Denali LLC. Like I said in the beginning, author, speaker, and coach, author of the book, Overcoming the Man Laws, for the man who wants to be his best despite what he was taught. passionate about seeing relationships thrive, both personally and professionally. And as an author, speaker, and coach, that is my life's work to see you thrive. So if you're a social media person, that's how you can check us out. If you're an email person, you can email the email address that's on the screen. I would love to have a conversation with you, because if you are interested in the health of your relationship, I'm your guy.
All righty. And just want to know, if you want to know more about Clear Journey, or you want to get in touch with myself, you can go over to clearjourney.org, or you can email me at info@clearjourney.org. And by all means, the book Clear Love Made Simple, The Guide to Inner Peace Contentment, you can pick that up on Amazon, or you can also pick it up on Audible. And so with that being said, as we do always, we can't change life, but we can help you navigate it. And until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.